You know that feeling on a Tuesday morning when you're pouring cereal into a bowl, half asleep, thinking you're doing something good for yourself? Yeah, I need to tell you something that's going to mess up your breakfast routine, but in the best way possible. Because right now, sitting in cupboards across the UK, there are 8 cereal brands that are basically lying to your face. And I'm not talking about the obvious sugar bombs that come with cartoon characters. No. I'm talking about the ones marketed as healthy, the ones your parents bought, the ones with wholesome packaging and words like natural and whole grain plastered all over them. Here's what's actually happening. You're being sold ultra-processed food disguised as nutrition. You're paying premium prices for ingredients that cost pennies. And worst of all, some of these contain additives that are literally banned in other countries but somehow perfectly legal here. So before you pour another bowl, you need to know exactly what you've been eating. Let's get into this right now. I know what you're thinking. Come on, it's just cereal. How bad could it be? Listen, I thought the exact same thing. I was buying 3 of these brands for a year before I actually started reading the labels. And when I did, I got genuinely angry. Not at myself, at the companies who've spent millions making sure we never look too closely. So here's what I need from you. If even one of these brands is sitting in your kitchen right now, hit that like button, because this information needs to reach every single person who's been trusting these companies with their health. And subscribe, because we're just getting started exposing what the food industry doesn't want you to know. We're doing this together. Brand 8, Kellogg's Special K. Special K. The weight management cereal that every diet-conscious person has bought at some point. Yeah, I had the red box in my cupboard too. Felt responsible, you know? Low-fat, portion-controlled, trusted brand. Here's the thing. Special K Original contains more sugar per serving than a glazed donut from Krispy Kreme. 17 grams of sugar per 100 gram. But they bury this behind low-fat marketing because they know you're not checking. And that fortified with vitamins claim? Those are synthetic vitamins added to ultra-processed grain that's been stripped of all natural nutrition. You're basically eating vitamin-sprinkled cardboard that spikes your blood sugar faster than actual cake. You know that feeling when you eat a bowl of Special K and you're starving again an hour later? When you find yourself grazing through the kitchen at 11 a.m., thinking something's wrong with your willpower? That's not you. That's the refined carbohydrates and sugar doing exactly what they were designed to do, keeping you hungry and coming back for more. And Kellogg's knows this. They've known it for decades. And you're paying £3.50 a box for the privilege. Brand 7. Nestlé Fitness. Fitness cereal. Even the name is manipulative. It's positioned as the healthy choice for active people. Whole grains, low fat, that sleek black packaging that screams, I make good decisions. But here's what they don't tell you. Fitness contains 20% sugar by weight. One bowl delivers more sugar than 2 chocolate digestive biscuits. The second ingredient, right after whole grain wheat, is just sugar. Not natural sweeteners, not honey, straight up sugar. And yes, I checked this 3 times because I couldn't believe it. But get this, the real problem is the acrylamide. When these whole grains are processed at high heat, they form acrylamide, a chemical compound that's classified as probably carcinogenic by the World Health Organization. The European Food Safety Authority has been warning about breakfast cereals as a major source of acrylamide exposure since 2015. You know that crispy, toasted flavor you thought meant quality? That's literally the chemical reaction creating potential carcinogens. And Nestlé, a company worth $328 billion, could reformulate to reduce this. They just don't, because crispy sells better. Brand 6, Weetabix. This one hurt me personally. Weetabix is practically a British institution. Your grandparents ate it. It's simple, it's wholesome, it's just wheat, right? Wrong. Weetabix contains both sugar and barley malt extract. That's 2 different sugars. And while they love to show you images of wheat fields on the box, what you're actually eating is ultra-processed wheat that's been pulverized, heated, shaped, and baked until it barely resembles the original grain. The glycemic index of Weetabix is 69, nearly as high as pure glucose. Here's what really gets me. They add disodium diphosphate as a mineral salt. Sounds harmless, right? It's a chemical additive that's used in detergents and water treatment. In food, it's used to improve texture because the actual wheat has been so processed it won't hold together naturally. You're eating stabilizers because the simple food isn't actually simple anymore. Your grandmother wouldn't recognize half these ingredients, and yet we buy it thinking we're being traditional. Brand 5. Kellogg's Crunchy Nut. At least this one doesn't pretend to be healthy, right? It's honestly sweet, honestly crunchy, and honestly, one of the worst things you can feed yourself in the morning. Crunchy Nut is 35% sugar. More than a third of what you're eating is literally just sugar. That's more sugar concentration than most chocolate bars. One bowl contains your entire recommended daily sugar intake before you've even left the house. But here's where it gets sinister. It also contains BHT, butylated hydroxytoluene. This is a synthetic antioxidant that extends shelf life. Sounds reasonable? The European Union requires it to be labeled because it's suspected of being an endocrine disruptor. It's banned in Japan and Australia in many food applications. You know that weird, almost chemical aftertaste that lingers? The one you've trained yourself not to notice? That's your body detecting something it doesn't quite recognize as food. And Kellogg's uses it anyway because a 6-month shelf life is more valuable to them than your long-term health. Brand 4. Nestlé Cheerios. Cheerios markets itself as heart healthy. Those little O's with their wholesome oat imagery and can help lower cholesterol claims. Here's the reality. UK Cheerios contain 4 times more sugar than the American version. 22 grams per 100 grams. They've literally reformulated the product to be worse for the British market because they can get away with it here. And those wholegrain oats, they're processed with trisodium phosphate, the same chemical used to clean walls before painting and to decrease water hardness in swimming pools. The FDA classifies it as generally recognized as safe in tiny amounts. But, and yes, this is real, if you called poison control in the US and said your child ate trisodium phosphate, they'd tell you to seek medical attention immediately. But in your cereal, perfectly fine apparently. Brand 3. Quaker Oats So Simple Golden Syrup. This feels like betrayal because Quaker has built an entire brand identity around being trustworthy and traditional. So Simple Golden Syrup porridge contains 24 grams of sugar per 100 grams. That's more sugar than you'd find in most candy. A single sachet delivers 11 grams of sugar. You could literally eat a Cadbury Freddo bar and consume less sugar than one packet of this healthy breakfast. But what really bothers me is the maltodextrin. It's the third ingredient, and it's a highly processed additive with a glycemic index of 110, higher than pure sugar. Your body absorbs it so fast that it causes massive insulin spikes. For diabetics, maltodextrin is basically poison. For everyone else, it's training your body to crave more sugar all day long. And Quaker knows their target market is health-conscious people trying to eat better. They're exploiting your trust. Brand 2. Kellogg's All-Bran, the fiber cereal. The one doctors supposedly recommend. Yes, it has fiber, 24 grams per 100 grams, but it also has 16 grams of sugar per 100 grams, which nobody talks about. And here's what really matters. All that fiber comes from wheat bran that's been so heavily processed it can actually irritate your digestive system instead of helping it. The very thing you're buying it for can make things worse. Plus, it contains palm oil, linked to deforestation and environmental destruction, and multiple E numbers, including E471, which can be derived from animal fats without clear labeling. You're paying $3.29 for something that might make your digestive issues worse while destroying rainforests. That's not health food. That's a scam with good marketing. Brand 1, Nestlé Cookie Crisp. I'm ending with this one because it represents everything wrong with the cereal industry in one box. Cookie Crisp is literally cookies for breakfast, marketed directly to children with 28% sugar content. But that's not even the worst part. It contains 6 different artificial colorings, including tartrazine, E102, which has been linked to hyperactivity in children. That's why it requires a warning label in the EU. May have an adverse effect on activity and attention in children. Let that sink in. Nestlé knows it might harm children's behavior and attention. They print the warning, and they still market it to kids with cartoon characters and fun shapes. Thick's head. If that doesn't make you angry, I don't know what will. I know, this is a lot. But listen, you're not powerless here. I didn't share all this just to ruin your mornings. There's actually a really simple way to fix this. And honestly, the alternatives taste better anyway. Option 1, Flahaven's Organic Jumbo Oats. These are actual oats. Just oats. Nothing added, nothing processed beyond rolling. You cook them yourself, which means you control what goes in. Add real honey, fresh berries, a spoonful of almond butter. It takes 4 minutes in the microwave. I've been making these every morning for 6 months, and that 3 p.m. energy crash I used to get, completely gone. You can buy them at Tesco for £2.50 for a bag that lasts 2 weeks. Option 2. Rude Health. The ultimate almond. If you need grab-and-go convenience, this is it. 5 ingredients, all of which you can pronounce. No added sugar. The sweetness comes from actual almonds and whole buckwheat. Crunchy, filling, and it doesn't turn to mush in milk. Yeah, it's £4.50 a box, but you eat less because it actually satisfies you. Option 3. Leesy's Low Sugar Granola. 5 grams of sugar per 100 grams compared to 20 to 35 grams in the brands we just covered. Made in the UK with whole oats, seeds, and nuts. Nothing synthetic. I keep this for weekends when I want something that feels indulgent but isn't destroying my health. Here's your simple cereal buying framework. First, pick up the box. Second, flip it over. Ignore the front, that's marketing. Third, read the ingredients. If there are more than 7 ingredients, be suspicious. Fourth, check the sugar content. Anything over 10 grams per 100 grams is basically dessert. Fifth, look for E numbers and chemical names you can't pronounce. Each one is a red flag. Sixth, ask yourself, would my great-grandmother recognize these ingredients as food? If the answer is no, put it back. If your grandmother wouldn't recognize it, neither should you. Your body deserves food, not science experiments. All right, confession time. How many of these 8 were in your cupboard right now? Don't lie, I had 4 before I figured this out. Drop a number in the comments. I genuinely want to know which brands have fooled the most people. And here's what I really need you to do. Send this to one person who still thinks they're eating healthy cereal. Your mom, your flatmate, that friend who's always on a diet. They'll thank you later. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but when they realize what you've saved them from, they'll remember. Hit subscribe because next week we're exposing what's really in your bread. And trust me, if you thought this was bad, I'll see you in the next one. Britain Uncovered is here for you.